Up next on Sports Weekly, his name is Turbo Man, and he won't be in the playoffs, but these guys will. From yesterday's centerpiece showdown, Akeem and David, the physical showdown, and for David, the verbal one. A couple of old Cy Young winners looking in Cy Young form early, Greg Maddux, and the debut of Brett Saberhagen. We'll look back at the week. Did Lasorda know about Strawberry's substance abuse?
Yes, but you couldn't do anything about it.
A fairy tale unfolding in golf's most prestigious event. The task for the new NCAA champs from Arkansas: recruit, then repeat.
Winning is a habit, and if they can continue that habit, we'll have a chance to get back.
On the 20th anniversary of his homer, Hank talks about his legacy in baseball.
Eventually, my grandchildren or their children may be able to witness one day that that home run will be put in the proper place rather than put down here, to be put up on top where it should be.
You've got the place, bring the game face. Who are we to judge? Sports Weekly is next.
Sports Weekly is presented by Delta Airlines.
Good morning, I'm Dick Schaap, and welcome to Sunday Sports Day, April 10th, 1994. 2.5 hours of news, views, reviews, and previews, highlights and sidelights, cheers and jeers. The best golfers in the world, Nick Price, Nick Faldo, and Greg Norman, are just about out of contention for the Masters Championship, and the leader going into the final round is a man who has never won a tournament on the PGA Tour, 35-year-old Tom Lehman. Mike Tirico is here to guide us through Sports Weekly, our opening hour. And Mike, Lehman is threatening to make his first victory the Masters, just a couple of days after Kent Mercker of the Braves made his first complete game a no-hitter. Doesn't anyone work his way up anymore?
Well, I guess Lehman hopes he can finish the way Mercker finished in L.A. on Friday night. But here's a guy who's really toiled very hard on the tour. He went to the Asian Tour, the Hogan Tour, won some there. He even quit the tour back in '85, back in '92, and I guess Tom Lehman is glad he's back on the PGA Tour now.
Well, it seems that he has won almost everywhere in the world except on the PGA Tour, so maybe in a certain sense he has paid his dues and he is due.
We will look at his action and talk about the Masters fourth round as we continue through the morning, Dick. But we'll get everyone started this morning with some West Coast NBA action from late last night. You know, the regular season in the NBA ends 2 weeks from today. The Lakers are kind of pulling themselves back up, but now they may be sliding back from the playoff picture. Last night in Portland, no Coach Magic Johnson. Irvin keeping a prior commitment to his high school all-star game today in Michigan. You'll see that on ESPN2. Right now on ESPN Classic, you'll see Michael Cooper, who was coaching the Lakers last night and got them running. Tony Smith to George Lynch for the foul. Lakers 65-56 at the half. Blazers scared stiff. Not for long. Second half turning it up with that Portland defense. Everybody who plays well in the West can play some turnover defense. Clifford Robinson finishes, ties it at 67. Robinson at 25. Strickland runs the show, finds Clyde gliding through the lane. Strickland 15 assists, Drexler 25 points. Coach Coop takes the loss, 112-104. Robinson and Drexler 25 apiece. Clyde also added a season best for him, 14 boards. Portland's beaten L.A. 6 straight, and Cooper said the Lakers showed fatigue at the end of the game. That's what happens when you try to run and you haven't run all season. Fatigue, not a good sign. With 8 to go, L.A. has 4 sets of back-to-back games remaining. A tougher schedule than Denver, who is in the final playoff spot. And most important, L.A. is now 5 behind the Nuggets in the loss column. Utah looking to hold on to the 5 spot, hosting Bob Weiss's Clippers. Karl Malone goes the opposite of Doug Llewellyn. Take matters into your own hand and take them to court. The real action, Stockton to Chambers for the layup. And look out for Felton Spencer. Hang on, don't hurt your guy. Chambers would hang in there. 17 layups for the Jazz in the first half, but then Elmore Spencer gets involved in the layup back. More easy baskets from the painted area. Ty Corbin. Jazz led most of the way, then John Stockton doesn't dish, he drives. Part of a 13-1 run. Karl Malone, not quite a layup here. Muscles this one in and shows us his guns. Big game for Karl, as well as the Jazz had a lot of easy shots. Shoot 57% from the field. Win back-to-back games for the first time in a month, and the Clippers have dropped 9 of their last 11. The big NBA game yesterday was the Texas tussle. David Robinson against Akeem Olajuwon. MVP matchup. Akeem the steal in the post early, and John Lucas not happy. Spurs had an all-time low, 9 points in the first, then more Olajuwon D. Blocks Rodman. The rebound. Akeem fights off the D and gets the hoop. Rockets led by 14, but the Admiral gets going. Vinny Del Negro finds him, and all fired up. We're getting back to within 8, says Coach Lucas. Robinson called here for hitting Vern Maxwell with a forearm, and the Admiral goes berserk. Lucas and Robinson were both given 1 technical, stayed in the game despite this serious outburst. The shot in the forearm from Robinson didn't phase Vern, who had a team-high 27, 3 there, and the Rockets stay atop the Midwest. Vern also added 4 steals, 5 assists, and 3 boards to his point total. So the season series between the 2 top teams in Texas, all even at 2. More importantly, Spurs 2 behind Houston in the loss column. The head-to-head, Akeem had 20, David had 30. Both were in foul trouble the last 8 minutes. And after the game, like the chanting crowd, everyone was talking MVP.
The MVP, it's not one game. You have to look at, the consistency every game, every season. So MVP, whoever they pick, I'm not. You can't go wrong. If you pick David or you pick me or you pick Scottie Pippen.
Usually you get pretty good referees and pretty good flow of the game, but sometimes it just happens, you get upset. And it is a big game, and, they miss a couple calls. That's when you got to start saying, hey, look, this is getting out of hand.
So head-to-head, these guys are all even in career matchups, 10 wins apiece. And look at the stats, remarkably even. Points, boards, blocks. Akeem shooting at a lower percentage. They meet one more time this year. That will come up in 9 days. More basketball ahead, now the baseball. And the best staff in baseball may be better than we all thought, with Kent Merker's Friday no-hitter. Kind of overshadowed the fact that in their first 5 starts, 4 Atlanta starters hadn't given up an earned run. One of those pitchers with no ERA, Greg Maddux, facing the Dodgers last night late in Chavez Ravine. Kevin Gross pitched for LA and looked just as sharp, facing Jeff Blauser in the 6th. It's him swinging. Ryan Klesko, frozen. And the Crime Dog, one of 11 strikeouts in 7 innings for Gross. Tie game to the 10th. Javi Lopez off Todd Worrell. Gets all of it, but a stiff wind blowing on a cold night in Southern California. Webster catches it. Lopez thought he hit it so well, thought it was gone. And then third base coach Jimmy Williams has to tell him it was an out, Javi. Same inning, 2 on, 1 out. And Jeff Blauser delivers again. Singles, fights it off, goes the other way. Raul Mondesi tries to get pinch runner Mike Kelly at the plate. But the throw took kind of a skip hop on Mike Piazza. Kelly scores. Greg McMichael closes it out. And the Braves win by the score of 2-1. Greg Maddux, the 2-time Cy Young winner, 4 hits through 9. Atlanta and Cleveland are the only baseball teams without a loss. Great effort by Gross in the loss. L.A. has scored just 1 run in its last 28 innings. Late American League action, Oakland at Minnesota. Steve Karsay, first start of the year. He part of the Ricky Henderson trade with the Jays last year. Gets a former Jay, Dave Winfield, swinging. 7 shutout innings for Karsay, and the A's explode. Terry Steinbach, 2 on and 3 coming home. Ballpark won't hold that 3-run blast. 1 inning later, the bender is bent by Ruben Sierra over the fence. It was 6-0 then. Oakland won 14-0. Second game in a row that Oakland had 4 homers. They have 24 homers in their last 2 games. One team has scored double digits in each of the first 4 Oakland games. Earlier we talked about the Masters. This is the only day of the year that a green sports coat is an acceptable fashion statement. Someone will slip into sports' most famous piece of clothing this evening in Butler Cabin at Augusta National. Yesterday's 3rd round of the Masters, like the first, typified by wind and firmer greens, but an atypical name atop the leaderboard this Sunday morning. Beautiful day yesterday at Augusta, but not for Greg Norman. Par putt on 9. Norman shot a 75 on the day. Jose Maria Olazabal, second shot
from 195
on 13,
right
going for it in 2, and boy, we see how tightly the collar's been cut. A bogey after going into the water. Larry Mize, Augusta native, a Sandy on 12, chips in for the birdie to tie him with Olazabal and Lehman on 16, already 7 under. Chirping with that birdie putt. He did bogey 18, shooting a 69. Tom Lehman leads by 1 shot going into the final round. His 69, one of just 7 rounds under par yesterday. Now, the other golfers who are lurking this morning, Tom Watson is 5 back. He says anyone within 6 has a shot. Greg Norman, 75, making it unlikely that he will see a shark in green later on this afternoon. Still ahead on Sports Weekly, the story of 2 sluggers, one facing a crossroads in his life, a second still underappreciated, 20 years after what should have been the greatest moment in his life. And next, last night in the NBA continues. Don't look now, but here come the Bulls charging after the Central lead.
In business, there never seems to be enough of it. And the last thing you can afford to do is run out of it. Time. So rest assured, Delta Airlines will help you make the most of it. With over 4,900 flights a day to over 300 cities around the world. And best of all, we'll make sure you arrive relaxed and refreshed with plenty of time to spare. Delta Airlines.
You think this is a crash? That's not a crash. You want a crash, we'll give you a crash. Introducing Upper Deck's Crash the Card Sweepstakes. The grand prize winner will meet Ken Griffey and appear on his 95 baseball card. Just look for info on this and over 1 million other prizes on packages of Upper Deck's new Collector's Choice baseball cards. Many will enter, few will win.
It's time to catch spring fever at Napa, the place more people rely on to keep their vehicles running and to help them save. Get Autolite or Champion resistor spark plugs, your choice, just 69 cents. A Napa Lawn and Garden battery is just $19.99 with exchange. Spring is the perfect time for this handy 8-piece cooler combo, just $18.99. So spring into your nearest Napa Auto Parts store today and catch the fever.
A friendly warning about the ultimate meat combo pizza from Pizza Hut.
You know, this pizza changed my life.
A meat taste so big, everything else will seem small.
I used to love a thick, juicy steak. Now it seems like a little hors d'oeuvre.
Big, thick slices of pepperoni. 2 kinds of Italian sausage.
And burgers taste downright microscopic.
This taste is so big.
It even makes my whole herd of prime beef seem mighty puny.
The ultimate meat combo pizza from Pizza Hut. One bite, and there's no going back.
Sports Weekly is presented by Delta Airlines. You'll love the way we fly.
Welcome back. More NBA. This expansion-created rivalry between Miami and Orlando will be taken to a new dimension in 2 weeks when both teams are in the playoffs at the same time for the first time. And if the Heat get hot, there is the outside chance that they could meet the Magic in round 1. The two teams met in Miami last night. Our look around the NBA starts with Shaq, was finding teammates last night, seeing the double team hitting Nick Anderson for the 3, then cross court, another Nick Anderson 3. He's been hot of late, 25 points last night. All Orlando last night. Dennis Scott with the facial on Matt Geiger, fellow Yellow Jacket from Georgia Tech, and Anthony Hardaway, the putback of the Shaq miss. It's a Magic win. Phil Jackson's Bulls looking to make it 7 straight. B.J. Armstrong more concerned with the World Cup. Eek. Chicago looking tough in this one. Horace Grant down low. The nice hook back in Blue Edwards into the paint. Bucks didn't play much D. Watch Luke Longley find the wide open cutting Pete Myers. Hey, locate the man on D. Mike Fratello taking notes as the Bulls win by 26. Mad Dog Carter, Sixers in for a dog fight. This was a great game. Down 3 time running down after missing a 3. Dana Barros gets it back and hits a Scotty Thurman-like rainbow. We're going to overtime, but in the extra session, the Hornets, who really need this one, Muggsy Bogues, the big bug with the big hoop. Charlotte wins by 5. Other NBA scores include Atlanta's win, so the Bulls are still 1 game behind the Hawks. Golden State handling Minnesota as the Warriors continue to battle for playoff position. And you saw the highlights of the exciting finish between the Hornets and the Sixers. Charlotte now within 4 of that last Eastern playoff spot, which is held currently by the Nets. Last night in baseball was opening night for Brett Saberhagen. The Mets pitcher who was suspended for the season's first 5 games after last year's bleach in the locker room incident. Well, that suspension ended last night as Saberhagen takes the hill against the Astros. Mets looking for win 4, and Brett was sharp. Gets Craig Biggio frozen and blows away Andrew Cedeno. Saberhagen goes the distance. 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 5 Ks. Mets bat sharp. Todd Hundley, who's been pushed by Kelly Stinnett at the catcher spot. Hundley finally delivers from the plate with that 2-run blast, and the Mets beat Pete Harnisch by 6. Big night for Jeff Conine of the Marlins. Watch his line drive to left off of A.J. Sager. Looks like a Sega home video game. A 3-run blast in the 9th. This time off of Mark Davis. A 5 RBI night for Conine, Florida bombs the Pods. That's our Sunday night matchup tonight on ESPN. Yankee Stadium, Tigers and Yanks. Tigers looking for win 1 on the year. Travis Fryman up with 2 outs, singles to right off of Jimmy Key. That'll bring plateward the versatile Tony Phillips, and the next hitter is Fruit Loops. Mickey Tettleton takes Key's breaking pitch to left. First one of the year for Tettleton. First win of the year for Detroit. In the World Series, it was a 3-run homer to win. Not as dramatic yesterday, but Joe Carter's 2-run shot, the game winner in the 9th for the Jays. Seattle joins Kansas City as the only teams without a win. As Sports Weekly continues to look at the news and events of the week, it includes anything but a Jim Dandy of a sit-down.
I can handle it.
The BMW You Can Handle It lease.
The Snap.
A customized lease geared to you.
Simple. Very simple.
And your needs.
Didn't hurt a bit.
Pick a BMW. Any BMW. We'll work with you so it's easy to handle.
Yes!
The BMW you've always wanted.
We can handle it. Easy.
You can handle it.
No matter what you drive, large or small, foreign or domestic, when you have drivetrain problems, there's one place you can always count on for fast, fair, reliable repair work. Mitchell Transmission, family owned and operated by 3 generations of Mitchells since 1945. For free road testing, minor repairs, and in most cases, one-day service.
See Mitchell Transmission Magicians, the people with the magic touch, the kind of people you can trust.
You guys getting this? Huh? Is this great or what? Just me and the great one. Nice pass, Gretz. I'm gonna be showing this to my grandkids. My grandkids' kids. Who am I kidding? I'm gonna be watching this on a loop in my own house with my friends. Charge $1 for every guy. You know what? Not as big as I thought he was. I think I could take him. Nice pass, Gretz. Yeah. Wayne, that last pass a little bit outside.
I'll work on it.
Welcome back to Sports Weekly. Now a look at some of the news of the week. And you know, as sportscasters, we sometimes are the biggest purveyors of cliches. We've even invented one to describe ourselves. It goes, sportscasters should report the news, not be a part of it. If you believe that a talk show host is a sportscaster, well, that axiom was not adhered to this week when on his ESPN 2 Talk To show, sportscaster Jim Rome continued his 3-year practice of challenging ex-Ram, now New Orleans quarterback Jim Everett. Rome has called the oft-rattled Everett Chris Everett. He did it to his face on Wednesday night.
Jim, good to have you on the show.
Good to be here, Jim. Thank you.
Check that. Chris Everett, good to have you on the show.
You know what? You know, you've been calling me that for about the last 5 years.
About 2 years, actually, Chris.
Well, hey, you know what? Let me say one thing. In that game, how many sacks did I have that we came back and won?
How many sacks did you have?
How many sacks?
Well, see, but this was back in 1989.
Okay, that was about 6.
You may have even been Jim Everett back there, but somewhere along the way, Jim, you ceased being Jim and you became Chris.
Well, let me tell you a little secret. That, you know, we're sitting here right now, and if you guys want to take a station break, you can. But if you call me Chris Everett to my face one more time...
I already did it twice.
If you call it one more time, we better take a station break.
Well, it's a 5-minute segment, or 5-segment show. We got a long way to go.
Well, we do.
We got a long way to go.
We do.
I'll get a couple segments out of you before.
Well, it's good to be here with you, though.
Well, it's good to see you, too.
Because you've been talking like this behind my back for a long time.
But now I said it right here.
Right, exactly.
Well, we got no problems then.
I think that you probably won't say it again.
I bet I do.
Okay.
Chris?
ESPN 2 then went to taped programming. ESPN, along with Rome and Everett, spent Thursday apologizing for what happened live on the air.
The first thing that I want to say about the incident was it is definitely regrettable and unfortunate. We don't feel good about this at all, and we are sorry that it happened.
They told me he was going to bring something up in that neighborhood, but I had no idea that, you know, he was going to put his foot on it and just keep stepping it down my throat.
With response to did I goad him, I regret in hindsight, which is 2020, I regret hitting him a third time. I think that I had made my point the first 2 times. But I will say this. He got in my face, and he challenged me to say it again. In hindsight, maybe better judgment could have been used, but in the spur of the moment on live TV, when he got in my face and he challenged me, that was my snap reaction.
I was backed up into a corner like a caged animal. I heard reports that he's been name-calling me, and just to put me in that type of situation when I'm trying to accommodate his show, I think was totally uncalled for.
We were not lying in wait. We did not ambush him. It was not a ploy for publicity. And you know the show. He knew the show. He just snapped.
Looking back on it, would you do anything differently? Or?
No, I wouldn't. I think that all I would say, looking back on it, that is if there's any other professional athlete that wants to do an interview with Mr. Rome, I would say that to be cautious and don't waste your time.
As a postscript to the story, Chris Evert, who is several months pregnant, had no comment on the shenanigans. Chrissy, of course, is one of the greatest female athletes of all time. The week started with a new champ in ladies college basketball. As you watch Chris Myers recount the week in review, notice that the game-winning shot should not have counted. For some reason, nobody's pointed this out. The player inbounding the ball picks up her pivot foot. This should have been a traveling call.
0.7 of a second was all that separated Louisiana Tech from a perfect tournament run. But the Tar Heels, Charlotte Smith, spoiled all that.
He's inside. Outside, Jefferson, three-pointer on the way. It is good!
With 0.7 of a second left, did the name Christian Laettner come to anyone's mind or pass through their lips?
No.
Smith's three at the buzzer lifted the Heels to a 1-point win in the women's national championship game. Putting wizard Ben Crenshaw put on a clinic over the closing holes of the Freeport-McMoran Classic in New Orleans for a 3-stroke win. 3 birdies in the space of 4 holes left playing partner Sam Torrance absolutely googly-eyed. Also making his Masters tune-up a success, Ray Floyd, who closed with a 4-under 68 at the Tradition. A birdie on the first playoff hole versus Dale Douglas gave Floyd his first senior major championship since joining the tour 18 months ago. Penguin superstar Mario Lemieux lost it in the Igloo's penalty box Monday when referee Kerry Frazier ignored Lemieux's contention that he'd been earlier held by 2 Lightning defensemen. Number 66 threw his stick. Frazier tacked on a game misconduct, and Lemieux made a charge at the referee. Afterwards, he got the idea that Mario wouldn't be shilling for the league anytime soon.
From now on, I'm not going to get involved with the league. I'm not going to do any promotions or any of that stuff. I'm done with you know, that type of stuff, and they can promote the marginal players if they want.
On Wednesday, the NHL fined Lemieux the maximum allowed $500. He was not suspended. Also Monday, the Flyers' Eric Lindros endured more than a bruised ego when he got boarded here. The Star Center suffered a partial ligament tear in his right shoulder and will be sidelined indefinitely. And speaking of sidelines, that's where this referee was headed, as fans in Balabe, Spain took exception to the officiating after the local team lost. Hey, just 2 months and counting to the World Cup's debut in America.
Chris, thank you. It was a week where Nolan Richardson called for personal and team respect. Well, he and his Hogs earned it. Later, we'll look at Nolan's cause and his chances of a repeat. Also, we'll look at the week in the NBA, where Magic Johnson, the rookie coach, showed he is learning the ropes and the habits of the bench rather quickly.
No matter how great the landmark, some people are never satisfied.
Where's King Kong?
Unless that landmark is Howard Johnson. At over 600 convenient locations, we guarantee you a clean, comfortable room and prompt, courteous service. If something's not quite right,
it's broken.
Just let us know and we'll make it right, or you get a free night. So for good rooms and great rates, call 1-800-I-GO-HOJO for Howard Johnson Hotels, where you'll sleep tight or it's a free night.
Hi, I'm Mark Anderson with MCI. Every day, thousands of AT&T customers switch to MCI. Here's a customer who switched from a popular AT&T plan.
Betty, why'd you switch?
When I got my first AT&T bill, I ran right quick to MCI.
How's MCI doing for you? Are you saving money?
With Best Friends, my savings is $76 a year. My total savings per year is $195. That allows me to make longer telephone calls.
Give us a call and we'll prove to you how plan for plan.
State to state, MCI will save you money over AT&T.
My Sports Center highlight goes like this. I bring it up, and I'm losing everyone except Robin Roberts. I should pass it to a big man, but they always get it, so I take it in. It's me against the Giants, and I jam it over them. And afterwards, I flash the little people our #1 hand signal while they play my song. Yeah, that's my Sports Center highlight.
Yesterday on Frozen Pond, division leaders, Detroit and Calgary. Scotty Bowman looking to wrap up the Western Conference. Sandy McCarthy, the spin, and his first goal since December 30th. The Flames win. They're now just 3 points behind the Red Wings for top in the West. Ottawa at Washington, important games for the playoff chasing Caps. Todd Krieger comes up big, the backhander there. Then the rebound in the second period. Then Krieger, the snap wrister from the circle, his first career hat trick. Washington 1 point away from the playoffs with 2 games left. Wendell Young shut out the Bruins. Montreal lit up Tom Barrasso in the wild Northeast. Canadians second, Buffalo a point back, Boston a point behind the Sabres. The NBA week included a couple of double-digit streaks, positive and negative, coming to an end. Magic, the coach, saying if you ask him right now, he's not going to be back next year. And some postseason regulars who will now get to play in the lottery. Jack Edwards with the NBA week that was.
Streaks, like records, are made to be broken. The Knicks fell 3 games short of setting a franchise record. Harold Miner shafted them with 22 points in Miami, ending New York's 15-game streak. The Knicks hadn't lost since February 27th. Now they've lost 2 out of 3. The Mavericks had lost 17 in a row. After a winless March, they mastered Sacramento thanks to a 10-point fourth-quarter run. Orlando's Iron Man doesn't have an iron stomach. A tummy bug sat down Shaquille O'Neal, the first time he's missed a game in 2 pro seasons. Jeff Turner was better than Pepto-Bismol for Orlando, a team topping 22 to beat the Bucks. Shaq came back Friday night and rained 40 on the Pistons, clinching the Magic's first ever playoff berth. The lottery just won't be the same without them. The last time the Celtics were out of the playoffs was 1979, when Chris Ford was a guard. He's the coach now, getting a painfully good view of the Nets knocking Boston out of playoff contention. Jason Williams went for a career-high 19. The Lakers' league-long streak of making the playoffs may end at 17 seasons. Magic Johnson got marching orders Wednesday, his first ejection as a coach.
I've cursed, I've yelled, I've hollered, and I said, there's nothing else I can do. So only thing left is to get kicked out. So I went and got kicked out.
James Worthy went to work after Magic got walked out, sinking a season-high 31 in the OT win over the Kings. Johnson lasted the whole game in Friday night's defeat by Denver. L.A. blew a double-digit third-quarter lead, adding to the coach's angst. The Lakers could have gotten within 2 games of 8th-place Denver with a win. You need at least 2 to make a streak. Charlotte is hoping to qualify by making the playoffs for a second straight year. Their rip of consecutive losses at Cleveland continues, though. After losing by 6 on Tuesday, the Hornets are 0-13 there all time. Muggsy Bogues pilfered a club record 7 steals against New Jersey, helping the Hornets win their next 2, but Charlotte is still well short of beating out Indiana for the final playoff spot in the East.
They are 4 back. When we come back, Darryl Strawberry admits to a drug problem. Sickness or weakness?
No, it's not a sickness, it's a weakness. When you allow something to go into your body that you know has a chance to really hurt you, how in the world can that be a sickness?
The car on the right was filled with Castrol Syntec, a synthetic oil, the other with conventional oil. They were then drained and started without oil to prove a point. You see, Syntec has a unique molecular structure that bonds to engine parts. Lab tests show it leaves a layer of protection far stronger than conventional oil. And if Syntec protects this well now, imagine if you leave it in. Castrol Syntec protects in ways other oils can't.
The right start. The right perks. The right room. The right preparation. The right result. The right reward. The right way, the Wyndham way. Wyndham Hotels and Resorts.
Bill, it's been said that during a game you'd be willing to check your own mother against the boards. Is that true?
Well, I keep my elbows down.
Sports Weekly is presented by Delta Airlines. You'll love the way we fly.
Sources say that as soon as he legally can, Dodger owner Peter O'Malley will release Darryl Strawberry. For now, Darryl is in a drug treatment center. He entered Friday after a week that started with Straw AWOL from last Sunday's Dodger-Angel preseason game. Keith Oberman chronicles the latest chapter in Darryl's sad story, which didn't seem likely when Straw spoke with Roy Firestone back on March 11th.
I have truly learned from the mistakes that have been made, and I deeply hurt and have scars from the mistakes that I have made, and I just want to really be able to try to turn the page on everything that has happened and turn it into a very positive note coming into this year for the club and also for the fan and the community of Los Angeles. What if you fail? I won't fail. That's my goal. I won't.
On Monday, Darryl Strawberry admitted what the Dodgers had suspected since last season, that he had a substance abuse problem. The team announced Strawberry will be out indefinitely while he seeks treatment. Darryl, in fact, had been abusing drugs and alcohol for a substantial period of time, that according to his own lawyer, Bob Shapiro. But for the last year, whenever Dodgers GM Fred Clare questioned him about it, Strawberry denied it. Now that Darryl Strawberry is receiving treatment, should he inspire compassion or disdain?
He's admitted that he's sick, the same as if he had cancer or sugar diabetes. He had to go to the hospital and be treated for it.
No, it's not a sickness. It's a weakness. When you allow something to go into your body that you know has a chance to really hurt you, how in the world can that be a sickness? A sickness is when you have a cancer or you have leukemia or you have a bad heart, something that you had no control over. That is a sickness.
Was it fame, fortune, failed expectations that caused Strawberry to seek treatment for the second time in 4 years?
No. It's not personal because he didn't play last couple of years. He's been hurt.
I do not buy that at all. People have said to me, well, is it because he made a lot of money and he gained a lot of fame? Hey, Hershiser's gained a lot of money and he's gained a lot of fame. Hershiser doesn't take it. Brett Butler doesn't take it. Tim Wallach doesn't take it. Steve Garvey didn't take it. All those guys who played for me made a lot of money, a lot of fame, but they didn't take drugs.
Lasorda lays part of the blame for Strawberry's problem on baseball's drug testing policy. Though Strawberry admitted to an alcohol problem in 1990, he could not be tested for other drugs unless and until he violated baseball's rules on non-alcoholic substance abuse.
Would you say you pretty much knew what Darryl's absence was related to even before everyone else did?
Yes, but you couldn't do anything about it. First of all, you cannot test them. The one thing that I don't understand about the rule that they have here is that they should be concerned with people who take drugs. They should make sure that they would get tested because they're actually saving their life. But they don't allow us to check them out because of the fact that that's the rule that they have in the agreement.
It is time now for Face-Off, and just a week ago, the Los Angeles Dodgers found themselves on the eve of the baseball season without their gifted and troubled outfielder, Darryl Strawberry, sidelined by substance abuse. The Dodgers may have had suspicions about Strawberry's problem, but no facts. Major League Baseball does not have a drug testing program. Should it start one? That's the subject of our Face-Off today between Bob Ryan of the Boston Globe and Mike Lupica of Newsday and Ryan leads off.
Yeah, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, should we check the Constitution at the door, Bob? What's the matter with you? Don't we even have one in this country? Are athletes different than everybody else? Should they go by different rules? Yes, and yes. Absolutely. Public confidence is the key here. People have to know that these guys aren't, that kind of thing.
This is a perfect debate for Ryan. He can do both sides. No, what do you like best about mandatory testing, Bob? That it's unconstitutional, that it stands the notion of presumed innocent on its head, or that it's class-based? Yeah, maybe airline pilots should be mandatory tested, but not ball players. Why should somebody like Dale Murphy be tested because Doc Gooden one time got tested positive for cocaine?
Dale Murphy had nothing to hide, and he knew it. You and I know that. No, anybody that has nothing to hide...
No, here's a better idea, Bob. Guns are a big problem in this country. Let's search everybody when they leave the house. This is class-based, Bob. This is how Japanese people ended up in camps during World War II.
Class-based.
It's class-based. You want them tested because they're ball players, Bob. They're not pilots.
Public confidence in the games is still the most important thing. What was all the Black Sox
stuff that's a good reason to throw everybody's civil liberties out the window.
Michael, you've just started a new job. Your company, the Times-Mirror company. Do they require drug testing of new employees? They do not.
Mine neither.
Yours does not, but Cap Cities does for ABC or for ESPN.
God, they do it for you.
Okay, Bill Collin will add his modest opinions to Mike's and Bob's on the Sports Reporters, which is coming up on the hour. They'll talk about coaches Nolan Richardson and Magic Johnson, and about Jim Everett when push came to shove. Mike?
We'll see you guys in 24 minutes. Our ESPN Chilton Sports poll taken Tuesday night showed that 54% of American sports fans said yes, the Dodgers should have the right to fire Strawberry. 42% said no. 4% either did not know or did not have an opinion. When we continue, the first week of the baseball season, some of the promising young guns of the Braves living up to their press clippings.
Why is Embassy Suites twice the hotel? First, you get a suite with 2 big rooms. Evening beverages are on the house, not on the bill. And our cook-to-order breakfast is free of charge. Obviously, this isn't your typical hotel. It's twice the room, twice the comfort, and twice the value. And it's only at Embassy Suites. Twice the hotel. Call 1-800-EMBASSY.
Jesse, you're all set for your nightly frog hunting expedition here in the Everglades. What kind of batteries do you use to run that headlamp there?
We use a Duracell.
Is that because Duracell batteries give you more frogs to the battery, or what?
They seem to last long, because sometimes you're out all night, and if they don't last all night, by daylight, you have a hard time finding your way back.
Yeah, ever look up at the stars and wonder why Duracell batteries last?
No, I've never really figured out. I know they seem to work great.
Well, probably too busy catching frogs to ponder the big issues.
Duracell. No other battery lasts longer.
If I kiss one, maybe it'll tell me why.
You're looking at the fountain of youth. Advanced Formula Mobil 1 synthetic motor oil. In a test, it protected an engine for 200,000 miles. The result? Vital engine parts that looked as young as the day they were born. There was virtually no engine wear. If you're looking for the fountain of youth, you'll find it in a container of motor oil. Mobil 1 synthetic. It keeps your engine running like new.
What is it they say, pitchers ahead of the hitters? Yeah, right. Thus far, teams have averaged a total of over 10 runs per American League game, a total of over 9 in each National League game. Hot starts by young players highlight the review of baseball's first week. Carl Ravitch read this script.
Although the elements didn't quite cooperate for the Rockies' home opener, elsewhere players fired up their blowtorches to melt away the remnants of the long, cold winter. The Cubs' lid lifter raised some eyebrows when rookie Carl Tuffy Rhodes homered in his first 3 at-bats, making baseball history with the opening day hat trick. Rhodes' salary is barely above the major league minimum, and Tuffy wasn't the only bargain basement prospect off to a hot start. Jays converted outfielder Carlos Delgado made a splash in left, then smacked a tape measure job into the Sky Dome's third deck in his first Major League start. The Braves' Ryan Klesko, who replaced Ron Gant, homered in his first 2 games, then upped his average with a 4-for-4 performance on Wednesday. Meanwhile, LA's Henry Rodriguez, perhaps now more than a fill-in for Darryl Strawberry, went 4 for 6 with 2 homers and 3 RBI in his first 2 games of the year. The Mets got off to their best start since '87, thanks in part to the hot bat of Jeff Kent. He drove in 6 in the Mets' 3-game sweep of Chicago.
The payoff pitch from Zane Smith. Belts it deep to left field, no doubt about it. Goodbye.
And another veteran who made an immediate impact, Matt Williams, clouts 2 homers and drives in 5 in the Giants' opening day massacre of the Bucks. Celebrities also enjoyed banner headlines this week. The Prez made his pitch at the new Jacobs Field, while Hillary had her fling at Wrigley. Local hero Nancy Kerrigan came home to the Fens, and Joe DiMaggio, the Yankee Clipper, got the call in the Bronx. As for the pitchers that counted, in Monday's opener in Cleveland, the M's' Randy Johnson no-hit the Tribe for 7 innings en route to a no decision.
Harris 2 for 5 against Lemke in his career, or rather against Merker. Ground ball to the mound. He should have it. There it is. He pitched a no-hitter.
On Friday, Braves converted starter Kent Merker, who had never pitched a complete game in the majors, twirled the season's first no-hitter. He blanked the Dodgers and fanned a career-high 10.
I just remember the 2 I had the last 3 years where I had into the 6 and couldn't finish for endurance, and I told myself I was going to finish no matter what.
Earlier, Atlanta's first 3 starters of the year, Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine, and John Smoltz, had completely befuddled the Padres to start the week. The 2-time Cy Young winner Maddux caged 7 in the opener. Glavine stifled San Diego for 7 innings in Game 2, and Smoltz was equally scintillating during his stint on Wednesday. The Fours combined ERA in that stretch, 0.00.
And Maddux helped continue that last night. Peter Gammons will be over there in about an hour. We'll talk about the poor pitching other than the Braves and some new faces making instant impact in baseball. Later in this show, Henry Aaron. He says he's not bitter 20 years after his record homer, but he's certainly not satisfied with the attention he's getting. Also, NFL news. The draft is 2 weeks from today. The Colts get a veteran quarterback who may get to tutor a Trent or a Heath.
Hi, I'm Johnny Bench. You know, to really understand baseball, you got to speak the language. Did you get all that? I didn't think so. That's why there's Baseball Weekly from the editors of USA Today. Baseball Weekly gives you the lowdown on the majors, minors, and colleges. Each issue is packed with team reports, box scores, and stats for every game, plus tips for fantasy leaguers, collectors, college top 25 polls, and the clubhouse for younger fans, too. Call this number to order 1 full year of Baseball Weekly. That's 44 issues for just $35. You'll also receive your choice of any Major League Baseball team hat or a Baseball Weekly hat, a $10 value, and it's yours free with your paid order. Sound good? Then call today. Get 1 full year of Baseball Weekly plus your free gift. But hurry, this offer is limited. So call now before you're called out. Baseball Weekly. It speaks baseball's language.
Last half of the ninth inning. And it is 2-2. Well, here's the first pitch.
Wind up out there again.
The runner's lead. Here's the pitch. There's a home run in the drive. Going deep. Deep. It is.
Sunday Night Baseball. Florida Marlins versus San Diego Padres, 8 p.m. tonight, only on ESPN.
Look closely when we come back on camera. This is our last day in these digs. A new set and a new show, the Hour Early Sports Center at 6:30 Eastern, starting tomorrow night. Some NFL news, things that are new. Jim Harbaugh, a Colt. After being blown out of the Windy City, he now signs with the Jeff George-less Indianapolis team. Lewis Tillman, 585 yards, looked good in Rodney Hampton's absence. Well, the former Giant is now a Bear. Eric Moore's tumultuous career with the Giants is over. He's hoping for a fresh start, signing with Cincinnati. Tony Casillas, he played for Barry Switzer at Oklahoma. He won't play for him in the pros. Casillas, the Cowboy, is now a Kansas City Chief signing a free agent deal. Lynn Elliott won 1 ring as a Cowboy before being released during last season. He will join Casillas as Nick Lowry Insurance in Kansas City. And Art Monk, great pass catchers of all time, free to negotiate with any team. He turned down the Redskins' contract offer of $600,000 this week. Maybe the biggest transaction of this NFL week, Norman Brayman selling to Jeffrey Lurie for $185 million, the Eagle price the highest ever for a sports franchise. The Bears may re-sign Steve McMichael for less. The Chargers lock up one of the league's best kickers in John Carney. These 3 are staying in the NFC East. Darryl Johnston and Nate Newton, heavily wooed by others, the first sign of some harmony after the Cowboy coaching change. There's more ahead on Sports Weekly, including Hank Aaron, a man who knew a lot about the game, but we didn't know everything he had to deal with while playing it. Next, Nolan Richardson. His team has the title, and they also have respect. So what's left for the national champions from Fayetteville?
We'll start getting prepared again to defend the title.
My dandruff and itch are awful. I'll try anything. Denorex tingles. Head and Shoulders doesn't.
Both have effective dandruff medicine, but Denorex has something extra that tingles, feels fresh.
That's why I started using Denorex. No flakes, no itch.
Denorex, the serious dandruff shampoo.
Final call.
We've got to move fast, Kirby. I hope you booked Hertz.
Not exactly, but this company's fast. As fast as Hertz #1 club goal? Not exactly, but they do have a special place to pick up the car.
Like Hertz?
Not exactly, but it'll be waiting.
Under a canopy? With the keys in it?
Not exactly.
And protected from the weather?
Not exactly.
In Rent-A-Car, there's Hertz and there's not exactly. Make sure you choose the right one.
Counting on that promotion, Kirby? No, not exactly. No.
My dandruff and itch are awful. I'll try anything. Denorex tingles. Head and Shoulders doesn't.
Both have effective dandruff medicine, but Denorex has something extra that tingles, feels fresh.
That's why I started using Denorex. No flakes, no itch.
Denorex, the serious dandruff shampoo.
I've seen paintings, I've seen sculptures, I've read books, I've seen plays. I've read books about plays and seen plays about books. I've looked at mountains, sunsets, oceans. I've looked at the big blue sky on a very clear day. And none of it is as beautiful as this.
In a week where more talented underclassmen like Cincinnati freshman Dontonio Wingfield said they're leaving school early to go pro, success has not accelerated the calendar at Arkansas, where after winning a first national title, Steve Cyphers tells us the goal is not individual gain, but a repeat run.
With the roar of the crowd still ringing in their ears and the reality of their first national championship yet to sink in, the Razorbacks saw their coach hug the first fan, then listen to Nolan Richardson issue a challenge.
To get another one. You know, Coach and I respect that he wants us to come back and work even harder. You know, like he said after the night, this will be over.
I said in about a week and a half or 2, we'll start back on the weights, and we'll start getting prepared again to defend the title. I mean, you got to win one, now you got to defend it.
This is the first national champion since the 1967 UCLA Bruins to return all 5 starters. Alternate guard Corey Beck is a junior. Scotty Thurman, who hit the shot of his life, is a sophomore. So is the Final Four MVP, Corliss Williamson.
You have a national championship now, so I suppose you'll go enter the NBA?
No, not me. I'm not going anywhere. You know, like I said, we have a chance to win another national championship, and, you know, I feel like that's what I want to do. I want to win as many as I can.
No Razorback under Richardson has ever left early, but 2 players who eventually could are the freshman centers Darnell Robinson and Lee Wilson. Both 6'11", they'll be expected to have a much greater impact next season.
For me, coming in my freshman year, never won the championship, high school or any other type, I mean, it's just a great feeling. I mean, it's overwhelming. I just love it.
We got to bring in a guard for sure, and maybe a skill forward. If we can get those kinds of things to go along with what we've got, and the guys show up in the right frame of mind as they did the last year, we'd have a chance to defend that title.
That frame of mind this season was characterized by passion and a hunger for respect. But now with the championship in hand, can the Hogs stay hungry? 1 year ago, Dean Smith was in a similar position with 4 returning starters and a deep bench. But his Tar Heels failed to live up to preseason expectations.
This team is going to still be hungry. We cried about the respect thing all season. Now we're going to finally get some, and we still want some more.
Winning is a habit, and if they can continue that habit, we'll have a chance to get back.
How do you feel about Seattle, Washington?
What's in Seattle, Washington?
Next year's Final Four.
Oh, I feel great about it.
But Williamson and the Razorbacks aren't making reservations just yet. There's too much to cherish in Charlotte.
All I'm going to be happy about is that each day that I wake up, if the good Lord brings me back, I'm going to say we're national champions. And I'll say that until November or October 15th. And then I says, now we have to defend that national championship.
Steve Cypers, ESPN.
You don't want to put too much pressure on him, but most of the offense coming back. In the tournament, Arkansas had a total of 7 points scored by seniors. Roger Crawford missed the tournament with a broken foot. Nolan Richardson may be close to landing the point guard that he mentioned, Janique Gardner, a talented, highly recruited one from Southern California. Well, the school and its coach called out for respect on Final Four week, despite being no lower than 6th in the national polls all season. Nolan Richardson challenged others to recognize him as an XO coach, not just a great recruiter. That cry for respect has received a loud response this week. Bob Lee looks at the second African-American to win a Division I college basketball title, a man who carried a torch and cut down a net.
Perception, remember, is the key to anything.
In the days and hours before the biggest game of his life, Nolan Richardson stirred debate with his views on media perceptions of black coaches and athletes.
Now, you know who the most intelligent team is, don't you? It certainly ain't these guys. At least that's what they perceive.
The issue resonated even after Richardson's Hogs beat Duke for the national championship.
I already know that I feel that I'm one of the better coaches in the land because I can play any kind of way. And yes, I can motivate. And yes, I can recruit. And yes, I can teach.
Duke, a private school with high academic standards, is a fixture of the Final Four. With 7 trips in 9 years, Mike Krzyzewski is commonly acclaimed as the coach of the moment. His players noted for playing, quote, intelligent ball. Of Duke's 7 regulars, 4 were white, 3 black. Arkansas's top 8 scorers were African-American.
I mean, Arkansas is the best team we'll have played. And they're smart.
Richardson was a leading spokesperson several months ago when the Black Coaches Association considered action over their concerns on scholarships and opportunity. Richardson touched on the media's role.
You see, I'm addressing every issue. The sad part of it, every time I see a kid, he's a prop 48. And I'm sitting there on TV and look at my wife and say, what the hell does that mean, that he's dumb?
With the national platform of the Final Four, Richardson addressed his concerns at the media.
Well, I'm glad you recognize that, Billy. I mean, blind man could have saw that we're going to have to put the ball in the hands of the big fella. So I'm really happy and proud that you were able to see that and make that type of adjustment. Thank you very much.
And I know that comes with a little bit of a jab.
Yeah, I guarantee you it does.
Basically, what people are hearing and seeing is some of Nolan Richardson's honesty and one of his personalities. And I think there's a lot that can be learned from what he said. And I just hope that people really listen to what he's saying.
Richardson has sparked both coverage of his remarks and editorial response in the media he is criticizing. He is not the first to raise questions about racial code words. Black players said to have great instincts and talent and athletic skills. White players said to be heady, smart, gutty. Nolan Richardson grew up in the 40s and 50s in West Texas in the time of segregation. 10 years after the first African-American coach won the NCAA championship, Richardson looks to move past milestones to frank talk on opportunity and images.
Maybe I missed the memo that said athlete and intelligent carried colors with them. Richardson may be right, but he may have been painting with too broad a brush. To say Arkansas has a more athletic team and Duke a more intelligent shouldn't be taken as a racial indictment. After all, 3 of Duke's best players, Hill, Capel, they are black. Just a sign of these ever-increasing sensitive times. When we come back, a man who had to deal with racial sensitivity in his day, Hank Aaron, 20 years after 7/15. Is he bitter about his lack of respect?
Eventually, my grandchildren or their children may be able to witness one day that that home run will be put in the proper place.
You think this is a crash? That's not a crash. You want a crash, we'll give you a crash. Introducing Upper Deck's Crash the Card Sweepstakes. The grand prize winner will meet Ken Griffey and appear on his 95 baseball card. Just look for info on this and over 1 million other prizes on packages of Upper Deck's new Collector's Choice baseball cards. Many will enter, few will win.
In business, there never seems to be enough of it. And the last thing you can afford to do is run out of it. Time. So rest assured, Delta Airlines will help you make the most of it. With over 4,900 flights a day to over 300 cities around the world. And best of all, we'll make sure you arrive relaxed and refreshed with plenty of time to spare. Delta Airlines.
New times for SportsCenter, 6:30 and 11 p.m. starting Monday.
Sports Weekly is presented by Delta Airlines. You'll love the way we fly.
The Braves will honor him before Wednesday's home game in Atlanta. But on Friday, 20 years to the minute, Hank Aaron broke Babe Ruth's home run record. Aaron was on QVC, hawking autographed baseballs. It's a sign of these times. Well, Hank Aaron, the player, had to deal with signs of his times in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. As Pam Oliver reports this morning, most of those signs were stop signs, but they did not stop Hammerin' Hank.
He campaigned for fairness, a way of life that early on had eluded him, but the absence of which never shook his inner strength.
I had all of the confidence in myself and my ability that I could do what I wanted to do once I got on the baseball field. I didn't take a back seat to anybody.
But off the field, Aaron had to ride in the back. Society said so. That message hit home when, as a member of the Jacksonville Braves, Aaron helped break the color line in the Sally League in the Deep South. Mercilessly booed and pelted with racial slurs, Aaron somehow pressed on.
Well, I felt like if I had quit, especially in the Sally League, that I was telling everybody that, you know, blacks, if they're given the opportunity, they're going to be a quitter, and I was not about to quit.
In 1954, Aaron cracked the starting lineup with the Milwaukee Braves, setting in motion a career that saw his name atop of many offensive categories for more than 2 decades.
When you're a teammate of his, you realize that all those stories they were telling about him were underrated. He could do more with a bat than any human being I've ever seen, and do it easy.
The guy knew defense, he knew the umpires, he knew base running, you know, he knew everything there was to know about the game.
Although Aaron was a well-rounded ball player, he was best known for hitting home runs. By the summer of 1973, he was in striking distance of the immortal Babe Ruth's record. But the closer Aaron got, the nastier his mail became.
What it was telling me is that some people were not ready to accept the fact that since '48, not that long ago when Jackie Robinson broke into Major League Baseball, now one of the most precious records of all time was beginning to crumble.
Things got so bad for Aaron, he needed a bodyguard. Major Calvin Wardlaw, then a 33-year-old detective with the Atlanta Police Department, drew the assignment.
It's not like that he was trying to start a war or anything. This is supposed to be a sport that's a pastime for everybody to enjoy. But it was a lot of hatred in some of the letters.
Aaron describes the chase as 2 of the worst years of his life. But by April of 1974, he sat on the brink of surpassing Ruth.
What are you thinking right now?
I'm just thinking about getting it over with, really.
Balls it deep, deep. It is gone. He did it. He did it. Henry Aaron is the all-time home run leader now.
Aaron finished his career with 755 home runs, but in his mind, baseball has been slow in recognizing his accomplishments. People say that you're a bitter man. Are you?
No. I don't have time for that. You know, I think that's the first thing that they put on most minorities. If you speak out and you say things about certain things, then you got to be bitter. You got to be angry. Why should you have to be angry if you don't agree with somebody?
If you ask him about it, he'll tell you exactly how it was, and he'll tell you the truth about it. And if you consider that bitterness, and then that's your problem.
Aaron already has his place in the Hall of Fame, but what he'd like most is recognition, something he feels has been slow in coming, 20 years to be exact.
Eventually, my grandchildren or their children may be able to witness one day that that home run will be put in the proper place rather than put down here, to be put up on top where it should be.
Aaron is age 60, a vice president for the Braves. He still seems underappreciated for what he accomplished, not held in the same light as a Ted Williams. He'll be the Sunday Conversation, Mr. Williams, on SportsCenter in a half hour. But next, it's the Sports Reporters on ESPN.